Israel seemed a blessed nation, with full temples, constant songs, and prosperous cities that gave the impression of divine favor. But beneath that religious appearance there was a deep corruption. The rich accumulated while oppressing the poor, the judges sold justice, the powerful lived comfortably, and the name of God was repeated as a custom and not as obedience. Then God spoke, and did not do so gently. He took Amos, a simple man from the countryside, without prophetic lineage or prestige, and raised him to roar against a hardened nation, announcing that God was tired of empty hymns and sacrifices without repentance. Israel mocked the message because it felt safe. Trade flowed, the altars were still lit, and they thought that nothing bad could happen to them. But the judgment did not come suddenly but slowly. First came hunger. The rains were delayed, the fields dried up, the crops failed, and bread began to be scarce. Even so, the people did not turn their hearts. Then hunger became despair. The cities were besieged. No one entered or left. Wheat became more valuable than gold. Water became a treasure, and children cried until the crying stopped moving, because when hunger rules, the conscience is extinguished and compassion dies. Then the unthinkable happened. Despair broke human nature. Mothers looked at their children with empty eyes, and fathers crossed limits they never imagined, not out of cruelty but as a consequence. Because when a nation despises life and justice for years, the day comes when life ceases to be sacred. The earth began to devour its own. Luxurious houses were empty, the powerful fell first. The altars were silent, and the children became victims of a generation that preferred injustice over repentance. But the most terrible punishment was not the hunger of the body, but the silence of God. The people sought answers when it was too late. They ran crying out for a word and did not find it. There was no vision or consolation, only ruins and fear. Finally, the nation fell and was uprooted from its land, taken into exile as an eternal warning. Because when God speaks and man does not listen, the judgment does not stop. The story of Amos remains as a mirror that reminds us that God is patient but not indifferent, and that when injustice is normalized, the judgment does not begin with fire, but with hunger, silence, and the loss of the most sacred. The message advanced like a shadow over the nation, recalling that divine patience is not permission for abuse, and that every ignored warning accumulates weight in the balance of judgment. Because celebrated injustice becomes custom, and custom hardens the heart until it becomes deaf to correction. Thus the days passed and abundance disappeared. The markets fell silent, the doors closed, and the memory of good became constant reproach. No one could say that they were not warned, because the voice had sounded clear before the final silence.